Hello and welcome back. In this episode we're going to be making a few special passages, so a forked passage like this one here, and also a passage with a 45-degree bend. And in addition to those, we'll be having a go at making a few circular shaped rooms as well. So, as always, you can find a link to the PDF file for these down in the description, so let's make a start. Okay then, for the passages, we'll simply glue the texture to a piece of double corrugated cardboard, and then, after giving it plenty of time to dry, we'll just need to cut out all the different pieces with a sharp knife. So, here I am cutting out the floor texture for the forked passage. And there we go. Next, we'll need to do the same thing for the two main wall pieces. Just take your time with these, and yeah, I haven't said this for a while now, but do be careful when using a sharp knife. Anyway, once they're done, we'll also need this corner wall piece as well. So, that's that done. Now all we'll need to do is take all of the pieces that we just cut out and glue the wall sections to the floor tile. So, here I am doing just that. And as you can see, I like to add some glue to the edge of the floor tile, as well as the underside of the wall as well. So I'll just glue on this last piece here, and when we're done, there's the finished floor tile. And as you've probably guessed, we can make the passage with the 45-degree bend in the exact same way. So that's the passages done. Okay then, for the circular rooms, we'll do the same thing again and glue the texture to some double corrugated cardboard. And as you can see, I've made it so that each room has 4 possible exits. And for this particular example, I'll be making a room with exits in these 2 positions here. So, the first thing we'll need to do is cut those out with a sharp knife, and we do need to make sure that we keep these little extra pieces that stick out from the edge of the circle, and that's all I'm doing here. Then, once that's done, we'll start cutting out the inner circle of the texture. And I've left this at normal speed for this first part, just so that you can see that I'm taking my time, and that the very first cut isn't going in very far at all. We're pretty much just cutting through the paper at this point. Oh, and don't worry if it's not 100% perfect. As long as we're cutting away all of the white paper, it should look okay. Anyway, with the next pass, we'll then start to cut down a little deeper, and then just keep repeating the process until we're all the way through. There we go. Next, we'll do the same thing with the outer circle, so just a very light cut to begin with, and then progressively deeper cuts to finish the job. And when we're done, it should end up looking something like this. Okay, so I'll now do a similar thing with the rest of the piece, though as you can see, this time we don't need some of those little extra bits that mark the positions of those other exits, you know, the exits that we're not going to be using in this example, so we'll just ignore those and continue with the circular cut as best as we can in those particular areas. Basically, so that it ends up looking something like this. Then we'll cut out the inside in much the same fashion, so that's exactly what I'm doing here. And yeah, it is a lot more time consuming than the regular tiles. Anyway, when we're finally done, we should be left with the wall pieces for our circular room. Okay, so all we need now is a floor, and for this I've glued some of the basic floor texture to some double corrugated cardboard as usual. And if I just quickly position the wall pieces on top of that, we can see that these 2 sides here are going to need straight edges. So we'll need to do that first, and that's exactly what you can see me doing here. Now we can just glue these wall sections in place, and when doing this, we do need to make sure that the exits are lined up with the grid pattern, so that each exit is 2 squares wide, just like all of our other exits. So here I am applying some glue to the larger of the 2 walls, sticking it down in place, and making sure that everything lines up correctly, and that nothing's sticking out past the edge of the floor tile. And there we go. now we just need to set that to one side to dry. Right then, so once that is fully dry, we'll then need to cut the floor tile to size. And once again, I'll leave the video running at normal speed for this first part, but it's a very similar process as before, but this time we'll be using the wall piece as a guide. So, as you can see, I like to cut the straight sections near the exits first, and then, once that's done, I'll start the process of cutting the curve with progressively deeper cuts. As I say, it's essentially the same technique that we use to cut out the walls, so just take your time, and it might take 4 or 5 shallow cuts to cut all the way through, but just take your time, be careful not to cut yourself, and you'll get there in the end. Anyway, there we go. There's the first piece done. So I'll really speed up the video again now, just while I cut the rest out. And there's the finished room. It's far from perfect. The edges are a little bit rough if you look really close, but it should do the job. Anyway, you can make the smaller room in the exact same way, and for this one I've gone with exits opposite each other, and it's the same thing for the little alcove piece as well. However, you will notice that I had a bit of extra room at the bottom of the page, so I've also included an extra wall piece, which is this piece here, and we can use that to make rooms or passages that look something like this. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this episode, so as usual, I'll leave you with a picture of some of these new pieces in action, and all that's left to say is thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.